Anytime you do any sculpting, complexion, bronzing, you need blush. They send you on your way looking all even and beige. What are you gonna do? Hey everyone, my name is Myiesha and I'm a Sephora Beauty Director and I'm back. This is my first video shoot back and I couldn't be more excited to be here with Solar. We are doing a softly sculpted, beautiful complexion on deeper skin. It's super easy to do. You can probably follow along with us because we're using some pretty nice products that you probably have in your makeup bag already. So let's go ahead and get started. So today for softly sculpting our complexion, we are going to be going in with a beautiful like deep color to really like sculpt those cheekbones. Everybody wants their cheekbones to be sculpted. Very important to bring light into the face. It's that balance of light and dark. That's what a contour and a highlight is. So to do that, we're going to be using a concealer first to complement that bronzer slash contour. Now on a deeper skin tone, you can pretty much use any kind of pigment, a concealer, a foundation, a bronzer, a contour that works. The rules for lighter skin tones of using taupier colors can read kind of ashy on deeper skin, so we can kind of break those rules a little bit. So don't get too frustrated or confused when you're doing your makeup and maybe kind of like hearing about certain rules that exist on deeper skin. We can kind of break those rules. So I've used a concealer all over her face that is in the neutral category. So I'm gonna also do that for the brightening. And this is the shade 55N, Best Skin Ever Concealer. I'm gonna put a bit on the back of my clean hand. And something I like to do to make sure my sculpting is soft, instead of taking the product and sort of drawing on the face, I'll load it up on the back of my hand and work it into the brush. I do this a lot with foundations, blushes, all sorts of things, and it sort of gives an airbrushed appearance as opposed to blending things that are already on the face. So we're gonna add a little bit of light right towards the center of the face, right under here. We're gonna go up. We're gonna add a little bit on the chin, and it's not about sort of like reconstructing her face, it's just about making sure everything is really balanced. So when she takes a photo, she doesn't have too much brightness in the center of her face or too much darkness on her cheeks. We'll just dab a little bit in the center of the forehead and down the nose. And then as my brush kind of runs out of product, I can kind of go back and blend those little areas. You don't want to think too much about this. You can even use your hands. And it's not about creating any harsh lines. You're just sort of repainting the portrait after putting foundation or concealer or tinted moisturizer on. And what you can do as well, if you put the highlight on and you feel like it's a little bright, you can either just take your hand and dab right over it, or you can take whatever tool you use that has the foundation product on, the original one, and blend it away. But just kind of tapping this into the skin, it warms it up and it blends really nicely. So we're gonna do the same thing over here. And this will help conceal like any darkness under the eyes. And you'll see when we apply the contour, we don't have to do much work because we have that brightness and it's gonna complement it. And just blur the edges a little bit, either with your fingers or whatever tool you use to put the foundation on. You can also use a clean brush. And I would say this should take a few minutes. It shouldn't take much time at all. Okay, so that's our highlight portion. So you can already see by applying that highlight right here, this area right here where the cheekbone naturally is already looks a little bit deeper and already looks like it's kind of sculpted. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to complement that area and make it so that when we put our contour or a bronzer, we don't have to do much work. This too, like this little area right here, this eye area looks more sculpted because we have that highlight on the bottom. So now we're gonna add a little bit of depth to the skin with a contour, but we're actually using a bronzer because there really are no rules when you're working on deeper skin. It just works. Anything that like looks really rich and pretty on the skin and doesn't have any sort of like ashy sort of purple undertones will work. I really love using the Fenty cream bronzers. This is in the shade Toffee Tease. I'm using the same brush, just wiped it off a little bit. This is the Sephora Collection Pro Foundation brush. I like it because it has a nice angle to it, so it fits really nicely in the cheekbones and under the eyes. We're gonna do the same thing. Because we're going for a soft sculpt, we're not going for any harsh lines. I'm gonna take some of the product, work it into the brush, and before I apply it straight on the face, I'm going to wipe off the excess on my hand. And this is gonna make sure that when I apply it, it's gonna go on very soft. It's gonna almost look airbrushed. So I'm taking the brush, kind of holding it upside down and just kind of pushing upwards. What I do find when people sculpt is they go really low. They'll kind of start here and then drag down. What you want to do is make sure you sort of like look at this invisible line from the corner of the mouth to the top of the ear. You don't really want to go any lower than that. So we're just blending upward. If you tend to be kind of heavy-handed and sculpt a little too low, this will help you. And because we blended it into the brush already, there's really no blending that's happening. It's just gradually becoming more sculpted. So we can take a little bit without adding any extra product, and we can kind of go around the hairline. Again, it's more about balancing everything out. So when you take a photo, which used to be a special occasion back in the day, now it's every day, it looks really beautiful and balanced. We're gonna do the same thing to the other side. We still have plenty of product over here. So you have more normal combination skin, you were telling me. Do you ever use cream products?
Not really. I feel like I have like a liquid foundation, sort of a liquid concealer, but nothing cream.
Yeah, I think creams and liquids tend to pop a little bit more in deeper skin because you don't have the risk of it looking a little too matte or a little too powdery. It looks really rich, and you can set these with powder. Right. So there's no fear of it getting like too greasy, too oily, anything like that, but I would definitely look into some creams.
Oh yeah.
So without adding any extra product, we're just gonna do a little bit down the sides of the nose. So soft sculpt is not about reconstructing your face, it's just about adding a little bit of balance. We have all this brightness here that we wanna make sure it's balanced in that nose area. Seems like I have more steps for you, but you are fully sculpted. It's super subtle. I don't think anyone would be able to tell that you're sculpted. You just look really beautiful. So the last step we're gonna do is a bit of blush. In my opinion, anytime you do any sculpting, complexion, bronzing, you need blush. You need that like flush of color back in your face to kind of soften everything and bring it together. So I'll be using a cream blush. This is a Huda Beauty Cheeky Tint in the shade Rebel Red. I actually put a little bit on her lips too, so it'll look really harmonious. I'm gonna be using this highlight brush, the number 98 from Sephora collection. It's gonna give me like a very soft look. I can take it directly from here, or I can put it on the back of my hand too, but this brush kind of gives me that soft look without blending it on the back of my hand. This is the Pro Highlight number 98. So I'm just putting that on the apples of the cheek and then blending it in. I like to always take the brush I use for complexion and kind of go over the blush. It makes it look a little bit more lit from within because it's underneath a little veil of complexion product. Same thing over here. Because contours are all about sculpting the face and adding more shape. It doesn't necessarily add a lot of color, so this just brings everything together. Okay, you haven't seen it, so let's look at this.
Okay, moment of truth.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so nice.
It's really pretty.
I look classy.
Yeah, like your skin looks really healthy, like you have a light flush. So that's the best part about soft sculpt. It's not about redefining features or making yourself look like someone else. It looks good on everybody because you're just making what's already there look really good. Super easy. We only use 3 products. You probably have a lot of these in your collection too. If you want to shop these particular products, go ahead and shop the shelf below, and we'll see you next time.